Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Menders. I'm the Adult Programming Coordinator here at Otis Library. I'm here with Pamela Days-Luketich from Liberty Bank, and this is our sixth recording on the journey to financial well-being. This week, we are going to be talking about managing your debt. This is a really important subject, and I know Pam has a lot of great tips for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to hand it over to you, Pam.
Great. Thank you so much, Julie. Hi, everybody. So, our last session, we were talking the last two on credit and credit reports and then credit scores. So, some of you may have found on your credit report that you have some debt that you need to fix and work on to help increase your credit score. So, that's what we're going to talk about today, some tips and some things that could help you get in a better place. So, first things off, like we had said at our very first class, you have to understand where you're at and what you have before you can make some changes. So, it's really important to look at your debt and understand what you have. So, you can either look at your free copy of your credit report that you printed, or you could go and find all of your past bills from a month or 2 months and take a deep dive and look at them. So the first thing you want to know is, who do you owe? So do you have a credit card and you owe Bank of America or Capital One? Do you have a loan with the bank? Do you have a loan with to a friend or family member? Do you owe utilities? What is it that you owe that you want to make a difference and change? So if you do a little spreadsheet, I find that's really helpful, or just get a big piece of paper and write everything out. List the people that you owe money to. How much do you owe them? The total balance. How many payments do you have to make? How many are left? And how much are the payments that you're making? And when are all the payments due? Are they due once a month, once a quarter, once a year? So write all of that down. And then, are there any other things about it that stand out? Is one maybe a student loan that has a special program attached to it based on your income, or is one a loan to a family member that they're going to forgive in 1 or 2 months? So look and see everything that you have and take a good picture of it. And then once you see all of that, you're going to just take a little time to analyze it. So, why did you get into this debt in the first place? Were you purchasing an asset? So maybe one of your debts is a car loan, and you got the car loan so that you could buy your car. Was some of it one of it to purchase your home or purchase appliances for your house? Look and see what the reason was that you made that purchase, because then it will help you understand your buying habits. And a lot of times, if you're purchasing a car, it's out of necessity, right? You have to get back and forth to work, you have to get to the store. We don't really live in an area that there's a lot of public transportation, so purchasing an asset could be really necessary. Other debt could be result of paying your bills. So if you owe back payments on your utility bills, you might want to look at that and think, why is this? Is it because in the winter months I don't make as much income, or I have electric heat, and that is really makes my bills much higher in the winter? Is there something I can do about those bills so in the future they're not going to be as high? Were there some of the debt that you owe an unexpected emergency or an unexpected expense? So this might prompt you to start to have an emergency savings. So if these things pop up again, a lot of times we may be living debt free, and then all of a sudden we have a huge medical expense. And now we have a lot of debt in that area that we didn't anticipate having, and really wasn't a fault of our own. It, happened to us, but what can we do in the future so that doesn't happen? And then other times, some of our debt is because we bought something we wanted, right? Sometimes people have a debt of a trip. They went on a really big trip and they said, you know what, I want to do this. I'm just going to put it on my credit card and go on this big, great trip that I've wanted to do my whole life. But now they have to pay those bills. Or you went on a shopping spree without planning, or maybe it was something you needed. Your car needed new tires. So you had to buy the tires. So look at now that you have your debt outlined, look and see, how you got that debt in the first place. Is it going to be something you're going to have forever? If part of your debt is your mortgage, you may have that for 30 years going forward. Or is it something that you can get rid of and you want to start to pay off? So we want to think about this because having a lot of debt really can impact our finances going forward into the future. So a lot of times when you have debt, how are you going to pay for that debt? You're going to use the income that you're making in the future as you go forward. And that's what you're going to have to rely on to pay your past debts. So it will impact your future activities and things you may want to do for yourself or your family. Sometimes you will have so much debt that it causes you stress or sleepless nights. And we see that happening a lot to people that they started out getting in debt thinking it would be manageable. And now they're feeling a lot of anxiety and pain for it. So other times debt can impact you because it may impact the amount of time it will take you to reach future goals, and a lot of times it will just feel like a big burden of interest and principal that you just have to continue to pay. So how can we get rid of this? So this is one of the methods that is probably the most effective, and it's the high cost debt first method. The advantage of this is it really will help you to save money in the long run. And the disadvantage, it may seem like a slower process. But what we do with this is we list our high cost debts in order. So you had a list of all of your debt you had, but then put at the top of the list the things that have the highest interest rates that cost you the most. So I would guess if you had a Home Depot or a Best Buy credit card, that would probably go to the top of the list because they traditionally have very high interest rates. So look at all of your debt, look at the interest rates, and then rewrite that list and put the things at the top, no matter what the balance is, that have the highest interest rate. And then as you go through each month, pay on all of them the amount that you owe, but the one at the top that is the highest, has the most, pay as extra. So if you have any extra income that month, pay that on the highest one first. So you're going to pay everything down as the amount that's due, except for the first one that had the highest interest rate. You're going to put extra on top of that one. So as you keep doing that month after month, that highest cost one balance is going to go down quicker than all the rest. And eventually that will get paid off. And then you'll start working on the second one on the list and make an extra payment on that debt and keep continuing until you get things paid off that you no longer have to make monthly payments for. So that is probably the best, most effective. I know a lot of people like to pay off small debts first because then they can see progress. But if the small debt has a lower interest rate, it's much better for you to pay off the higher debt first because you will save more money in the long run. Now, I make it sound simple that all you have to do is write things down and then pay extra money on the top one and you'll be debt free in no time at all. And I wish it was that easy, But a lot of times we need help with this because it's challenging. As we said earlier, it's stressful, and there are a lot of great people out there that can help you. You can talk to nonprofit credit counseling organizations. They aren't going to take advantage of you. They'll sit down and look at your budget, look at your debts, and help you with the organization of what you should pay first and at no charge to you. You can also search for credit counseling at usa.gov. And there are tips from the Federal Trade Commission on how to find and choose a credit counselor. I have a warning with this. You really want to be careful of debt settlement companies or debt consolidation loans. Some of them may be really good and helpful, but there are a lot of fraudulent ones out there, and there's a lot of companies that don't have you in their best interest. And that's why we say to go to a nonprofit credit counseling organization. But for profit companies, while there may be some good ones out there, there are also some that try to make deals and could really make your credit situation worse. So just be very careful. Always get a second opinion. Don't agree to anything unless you really feel comfortable with it. So let's be strategic and develop your plan to reduce your debt. So, really take a step back, look at where you're at. Maybe you just have a few simple things that will just take a year to get rid of. That would be great. But if it seems to be more difficult or more daunting to you, get some help. If talk to a nonprofit credit counselor and try to find some better ways to pay down that debt. Maybe they could even help you get the debt reduced through the company. So, really take advantage of their services.
Thank you, Pam. That is some great, great information. We so appreciate it. And I do wanted to let everyone know, we don't always put this out there, but if you have any questions about the content that Pam had for you today, feel free to shoot me an email and I can pass it on to Pam, or maybe even be able to put you, make a recommendation for a book if that's what you're looking to do. So she does cover an awful lot of information in each one of these. So if you ever feel daunted or not quite sure about something, please feel free to reach out to us and ask a question. So either myself or Pam will be happy to help you out.
And we also have other classes and programs. So, if you're interested in more information, reach out to Julie and we can help you out.
I wanted to make a quick book recommendation here and wanted to let everybody know we have some great resources here at Otis Library. And I did want to talk specifically about books that we have in our teen department, our young adult department, having to do with personal finance. One of the best ways to make sure that the next generation of young people coming up stay out of debt and don't incur some of the debt that our generation has is to start early and educate them early. And we have a lot of great books in our teen department having to do with personal finance. One in particular I'm going to mention here is called How to Money is the name of it, and it's your ultimate visual guide to the basics of finance. And this is for high school and college age women who are maybe have student loans or getting their first charge card or are maybe borrowing money for the first time. It answers all your questions. It spells everything out. I think this would even possibly be helpful to anybody who's even out of school and wanted to just get a little bit more education on personal finance. It is by Jean Chatsky and Catherine Tuggle. It's available to borrow at the library in our teen department, along with some other great books. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Liberty Bank. And we will see you next time.
See you next time.